Hey, what's up everybody? Today I just wanted to show you how I produced and recorded Give Me One More Chance, or One More Chance by Leylani. It's a great song and I just wanted to go through the tracks with you guys and show you the different elements of the song and hopefully try to inspire more Hawaii producers to do the same. I'm always interested in knowing what goes on behind the scenes and knowing what kind of plugins people use and how they, do their skanks and their bubbles and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go through this track and show you guys what I did. So here we start off with the click. This aux 1 is just my talkback mic so you guys can hear me. Let me show you guys how I received the original track. Let me activate this. So how it all started off was Leylani hit me up. She said, I have this idea. Here's my little demo that I recorded on the iPhone, and she pretty much just let me go for it and create the beat to it. So this is what she sent me.
It was my fault that I will admit I took you for granted.
And so it's pretty much what it was, just a simple program guitar with her recording the vocal on her phone. I figured out the tempo, chopped it up to make it align with the grid, and basically went from there. So let me just get this out of here again. So let's start off with the drums. Here's the drums. What I use is Addictive Drums 2, which with the limitations of a home studio, I don't have the capability to record live drums. I find that it's a good alternative. Nothing sounds better than live drums, but I just do my best to make it work. So let's just listen to the drums for a little bit. And so everything is programmed here. So you got the kick here, got the snare, got that cross stick. We got different hit, like a rim shot snare. You got toms, hi-hats, open hi-hat, closed. And then you got your cymbals somewhere around here. Oh, I think I have the overheads off. Let's see, yeah. So if I turn that overheads on, you can see, and there you go. You got all your cymbals there. So what I did was just, I played it on my keyboard and then went in and edited the notes. So you can see this little roll has, got that little rim shot type sound with these light rolls, and this is the velocity here. So, I try to mimic as much as what a drummer would do. And as you can see, one key to try to make it sound as real as possible is not having things quantized perfect to the grid. So you can see a lot of things are, not really right on the grid, trying to still give it a live, loose feel. You can see this hi-hats, probably a few steps off of this bar, but if everything was lined up perfectly to the grid, it just wouldn't have that live drum feel. And then also to make it live as well is velocity changes. So you can see different hi-hats have different velocity levels. Each hit is not necessarily all the same velocity, and the same idea, just trying to mimic what an actual drummer would do. So what I did was basically just played a lot of the drums on the keyboard and then went in, edited all the stuff. And yeah, you can see velocities are kind of all over the place. It's not, one solid velocity level. I try to give it a good feel here. And same for, as I mentioned, the programming piece. So you can see, nothing's really right on the grid. I tighten up stuff a lot. So like sometimes, things would be way out here and I would tighten it up a little bit closer to the grid. But I kept the relationship all the same. So if I move something, I would move the whole block of stuff. So that's kind of how I program my drums. Moving on to the bass. So here I play a Fender Victor Bailey 5-string bass. It's an awesome bass. I use it for pretty much everything. I was considering getting, a few different basses, but once I came upon the Victor Bailey jazz bass, it just fit every genre that I played in. So I played everything from gospel to reggae to just random stuff here and there, and I love it. What's great about it is for reggae, it has this huge bottom to the bass, and I don't think they even make the bass anymore. I gotta look it up, but I think the bass is discontinued. But anyways, here's the bass line. And as you can see, everything, so this is the actual session that I worked off. So everything is played pretty much live. There's a few punch-ins that I did. So whenever you see a break, that's when I stopped recording. I probably messed up here and went in again and just punched in. Here, probably moving some stuff around and all of that. A few more punches. But what I did as far as processing goes is wrote off the top end, got some frequency boost using this R bass, and as you can see, I'm not adding low end. It's kind of more on the low mid side of things, and what this did was in smaller speakers allowed the bass to still pop out when not listening, on huge sound systems. So that's what I use that for. And then we got a compressor here. It's probably just doing some gentle compression. So in the context of the song. And keep in mind, guys, this is not the mixed version. It's pretty close to being mixed, but I have a different session that, the drums was converted to audio, all of the MIDI was converted to audio, and then I mixed that. So this is just a general idea. Things might have changed, with the bass. I might have taken off some plugins, but if you guys want to see that session, the actual mix session, I can probably do a video on that too. The next track is the sub bass. So in the break section, if you notice, there's this low bass before the chorus kicks back in. So let's play that part. And so yeah, so that's not my actual live bass playing. It's just a program keyboard stuff. And if you're listening on computer speakers or things that don't have bass, you probably won't hear it. But yeah. So what I have here is just expand, producing that sound. It's in subsonic 2, and basically the cutoff is really low, cutting off a ton of the highs. And yeah, that's pretty much about it for that bass sound. No processing here, but yeah. Maybe on the mix session I did something to it. But anyways. So next we got the bass picking, which follows the bass line. So let's go to the intro again and take a listen to that. And so basically it just, mimics the bass line. And it does it throughout the entire song, pretty much. So if you take a listen to this section, and I'll add the bass in with this. Just gives that, different texture to that bass sound and gives some attack to that bass line as well. And because it's such a, melodic bass line, I kind of wanted to bring that out, and this bass picking helps a lot. For the keyboard skank, what I did was, as far as sound, use the mini grand that comes in with Pro Tools. And let's take a listen to that sound. Here's it by itself. And so these are my settings, if you guys want to take a look at that. And as far as processing goes, a lot of the lows have been cut off, some of the highs. I didn't want that like bright chank type of sound with this song. I wanted a more subdued, mellow skank sound, so took out a lot of the mids, rolled off the highs, and filtered the lows. And so that sound is this. So that's a keyboard sound. If we move on to the Rhodes, let's see what we got going on here. And my heart breaks. I'm down on my knees. Let's mute that or solo it. So yeah, it's just these hold chords in the pre-chorus before the chorus hits. And you kind of got that, if you're listening in stereo, you got that bounce between the left and the right to give it some space. And I believe this is the bridge. Let's take a listen. Give me one more chance. I never knew that it's the same idea, just some, holding road sounds. And that's about it for the Rhodes. Next, we got the bubble. And for my bubble sound, and everything is done in the box using Native Instruments plugins or instruments that come with Pro Tools. I have a super small setup here. You guys can see it, but it's just in my room. I got one desk, my little 49 key M Audio $99 MIDI controller, and that's about it. Hooked up to my computer and using all the sounds within the box. Yeah, none of these sounds are coming from like a motif or something like that. So here's a bubble sound. Pretty much all the drawbars are in except for, this low. So let's try to mess with that and you can hear the sound. But first, let's take a listen to the bubble. So for all the tracks I do, this is pretty much the settings that I use. Mess a little bit with the amp settings here, with the tones here, but for the most part, this is my setup. So yeah. So that's the sound there. And I think I had the vibrato on the entire time to give it that rotating sound. So yeah, that's a bubble. A lot of times, you got that high hits randomly, so I can kind of see that here. Let's take a listen to those. I'm down on So that's all that stuff there going on. What else we got? So on to the guitar skanks. Here I have a ton of guitar skanks layered, just really tight hits on the guitar. Let's take a listen. So we got all of these guys. And so the first set, everything I did for these skanks were in doubles. So I'll play the exact same thing, go back to the beginning, play the exact same thing again, and pan it all the way left and all the way right. So here's the first sound of skanks. And then here's the second sound. So I kind of altered the sound a little. I think I adjusted like the pickups on my guitar and then just basically re-recorded another 2 tracks of the same thing. And yeah, basically not really pressing down on the frets, kind of giving that short staccato just to give it that attack. And then when you blend it with this, you kind of get that punchy skank sound. As far as amp modeling goes, like I said, I'm doing this all in a small room, no amp, just plugging my guitar directly into my interface and manipulating the sounds here. So I'm using Guitar Rig from Native Instruments, using the Jazz amp with the match cabinet. These are my settings: bright on, rolled off some bass, and that's pretty much it. Messed around with this blending of the 2 microphones, mostly dry, meaning the microphone's placed very close to the cabinet. If you do air, it's kind of like you're pulling the microphones away and getting more of the room. So getting a very dry sound there. Probably had the same for this one. For the tights skank, a little bit more air, more of this microphone. Rode off all the bass, mess with a little bit of mids, and yeah. So that's a skank sound. Let's see, any other things here? What is this part? We got a little hold here. Let's see what's that. So just on that pre-chorus right before the verse, messed around a little bit, held out some notes here and there, but that's about it. It's pretty much these tight skanks all the way throughout the song. Moving on to, let's see. Oh, and then everything is bussed. These 4 skanks are bussed out into a bus called Get Skank, and that goes into here, which I have on a reverb. Got some gating going on, or no, not gating, compression. So just knocking down some of those random peaks in the skank, and then got some roll off here. And then we got some skank delay automation, which looks like it's here. Let's take a listen to that. Skank delay. So in context with the song, that sounded... But now all I want is to stay home with you. Wish I could take back. Yeah, just added in some delay when the drums and the bass kicked out there. So nothing too crazy. For that, just use the long delay standard plugin that comes in Pro Tools. And then use this auto pan, which bounced the delay kind of between the left and the right. At the beginning of the song, have this little effect thing going on. And that's here. So, and that was, I believe, using, let's see, what instrument was that? I think I was using Massive, and it was some preset that I just move buttons around until I came up with that sound. And I think that's the only effect that happens, yeah, throughout the whole song. All of the music is bussed into a separate bus called, where did it go? Here you go, called Music Bus. And then also into a parallel bus, which I did some parallel compression on there. I don't know if I kept that in the actual mix, but it's what I'm doing here. Now moving on to the vocals. So vocals, I'm in California, so obviously vocals weren't recorded here. They were done on Maui at Rob Suhako's studio. And he recorded them, he sends them to me, and then I just throw them in here and mix it when I'm doing my final mix. So here's the vocals. It's the ad-lib section. Just take a look, listen to that. We got some effects going on here. Let's make sure those are on. All right, I think that's it. So yeah, so I just have a track with just all of the ad-libs. Here's the lead vocal, or sorry, here's the lead vocal for the verses. It was my fault, that I will admit. And basically just got some reverb here. Took you for granted and lied a little bit. Some reverb here, and then all the vocals as far as the lead vocals. So you got the lead vocals here, you got the chorus lead vocals, you got the ad-lib lead vocals. You can see they're all routed to a Vox bus, which is up here. And that's where I do all the processing. By doing this, I don't need to add separate plugins to each ad-lib track. Well, in this case, I did for the ad-libs. Cut off a little bit more highs, a little bit more lows than the actual chorus and verse. But as you can see, chorus, nothing. The verse here, nothing. I believe this is the bridge. But everything gets sent to this bus, which then gets processed. So for the SSL EQ, all I'm doing is utilizing the filter on this, going into the 1176 model that Avid has in their Pro Tools package, and then a tiny cut of 2 dB at 334 hertz. And then as far as effects goes, so we got some reverb just on the main bus that I believe is on the entire time. Give me one more chance, promise I'll be better. So without it, let's take a listen to that section. Please, give me one more chance. So you can see it was very dry, and then this reverb just kind of add some space around the vocals. And the reverb I'm using for that is this R-verb. So using the Hogarth vocal verb setting with a fairly long reverb time, close to 3 seconds. A little roll off on the high end. And then I also got some delay on the vocals. So for example, like the ad-libs, if you take a listen to that. And so for that delay, let's see if I can find it. Here you go. So I'm using a delay plugin that comes in with Pro Tools, and did it on half note timing, and that's about it. So that's all the vocals there.
I believe this is the bridge. I never knew that I could hurt. It's bad.
So that's the lead vocals. And then if we move down, we got some backup vocals, like some oohs here.
I'm down on my knees, begging you please.
That's these guys. So yeah, so what I did was widen those oohs up and kind of made them sound like they're off to the side by utilizing this slap delay trick. One side is off, so the right side is off, but the left side is on. You can see mix 100, and it's delaying the left side by 10 milliseconds. And what it does is fools the ears to think like the vocal is pushed off to the sides. So that's without it, and then with that slap delay. So yeah, use that trick to widen it up, because she only did one ooh per harmony, or one track. So I couldn't, pan one to the left, one to the right. So use that trick there. Same for the chorus. Using the slap delay tricks on some of these guys.
Miss, I'll be better. I try to understand, baby.
So we got, I believe this is Leylani's vocals. And then she added in a low harmony. And then my brother did some, I think, a harmony below that, I want to say. Yeah. So in all three cases, utilize that slap delay trick as well to kind of push those vocals out of the way and off to the side so that the lead vocal is down the center. So in the context of the mix.
Promise I'll be better. I try to understand, baby.
So that's that. So backup vocals, and you got backup vocals throughout the song here. We got bridge backup vocals.
One more chance. I never knew that I could hurt as bad as now. I never realized what you're worth, but I do now.
So in this case, I tried using the slap delay trick, but just didn't really work out. I only use it on my brother's vocals here, but on Leylani's vocals, I just pan, one harmony off to the left, one harmony off to the right, and then Dane's vocals has that trick where it's going to be spread on both sides. So that with the lead vocal.
I never knew that I could hurt as bad as now. I never realized what you're worth, but I do now.
So it's just kind of, they're singing in a different melody, more elongated phrasing. And that's about it for backups. Moving on to trumpets. So trumpets, these are live horns. They weren't recorded here. They were recorded in Lane's studio, Lane Ikawa. And what he did was he recorded each vocal sound, or each trumpet sound or saxophone sound with two different mics. And he gave me the option to use whatever mic I wanted. So that was awesome because this one mic, and I don't know what mics he used, but the ones labeled SP sounded great for the saxes and for the first trumpet. But for the second trumpet, the second mic he used was an SM57, which sounded better on that. So that was great because I got to choose which sound worked with the mix. And I didn't need to use like a ton of plugins. As you can see, I just have this channel strip here, doing some broad EQing. But I didn't need to do like massive, huge cuts here and there to make, to get the sound I wanted. It was just captured at the recording phase. So I really like that about these horns. So let's see. Let's take a listen to them. And we'll take a listen to the intro. And so, you know, you got your sax, your trumpet. So it's all of that. Here's trumpet 1. Here's the sax. And sax 2. And trumpet 2. And so yeah, for that high trumpet sound, this SP mic, which I don't know what it is, but didn't sound as good as the SM57 mic. So like I said, I'm glad I had that option. All together sounds like this. So yeah, that's a trumpet sound. You got your first trumpet pan off a little bit to the right, second trumpet left, and then the 2 saxophones, one left, one right. And I tried to balance it based on the tone, if they're playing like in a higher notes or lower notes, and trying to balance that. So like the high trumpet, balance that with a low sax, and then the middle sax, balance that with the middle trumpet. All the horns are being bussed to this horn bus, which has a deverb on it for some reverb, and then did some major cutting here. So let's see what I did without or with it and without it. So I mean, sounds great either way. I think within the mix, cutting out a lot of the lows, highs, and scooping out some of the mids made it fit better within the mix. But who knows, maybe in the mixing phase, which is a different session, I'd probably change that up. But yeah, that's about it. That's all the tracks here. Went over all the vocals, the guitars, the bubbles, the skanks. And yeah, if you guys want to see anything more about this session, or if you guys want to take a look at the actual mix session, which is probably, you know, got a little bit different EQs and compressors in there, just let me know and I can share that with you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and that you could see, you know, what's going on with this session, and you can see the different sounds that I use, and hopefully, you know, one of you guys can share your videos on the sounds and techniques that you use to record your tracks. Alright guys, I'll see you guys in another video.